Hi guys, good morning. It's Mark Dawes. It's the 15th of October 2013. It's a beautiful sunny morning and I'm here in Budapest in Hungary and I'm on a rooftop terrace and nothing could get better than this, but I thought I'd take the time to do a quick blog post for you because I've got a couple of interesting news items for you that you may be interested in. Firstly, on the 4th of November this year, I've been kindly invited to speak at a General Service Association conference and I'm talking on a couple of topics there. One is the emergency response cuff, which is the piece of equipment that Mark Williams has produced. Fantastic bit of kit, and I'll be talking about and demonstrating the use of the response cuffs at that conference. And I've also been asked to fill a slot in the morning around some aspects to do with the use of force. Now, a lot of you know about what we talk about, the common law, criminal law, human rights act, and all the other peripheries that go around that, health and safety, the various models, HSG 48, etc., etc. But something came to light while I was here. And it's one of the things, that it's a tenacious subject, and it's the the use of restrictive techniques or pain compliance techniques. And I thought I'd just touch base with this for me because I was actually reading something in, believe it or not, one of the Dalai Lama's books, which struck a chord with me. And that is this whole issue of extremes. And we seem to have two extreme camps at the moment in this field. One camp saying you should never ever use a restrictive technique that is likely to cause pain with a child, intentionally, of course, with a child at risk or an adult at risk. And then you've got the other camp which says, well, if we didn't use these techniques, you didn't use pain compliance techniques, then it wouldn't work. And there's been reports on either side for this. The bottom line is with this, and this is what struck a chord with me when I was reading the Dalai Lama's book, is that extremes in any form, are not good. Extreme poverty is not good, and extreme capitalism is not good, because either side, people are striving and are locked into various dogmas and things that end up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's finding this middle ground, it's this balance that's really important, and that's one of the things I thought I'd just take the time to touch base with you with. Now, the issue of restrictive techniques and pain compliance techniques are a tenacious subject, but it got me thinking, particularly when I read the passage in this book, and what the Dalai Lama talks about. He talks about the intention behind things, and he talks about hurt, and he talks about pain. And he said, if you take that in isolation, he said, if you say all hurt is bad and all pain is bad, then if your doctor or your dentist has to give you an injection with your best interest at heart to actually nullify the effect of further pain due to an operation or intrusive bit of surgery or dentistry, then that would be wrong. But the intention behind that, the motive behind giving you that injection, which is going to cause that initial pain, has to be right. And this is where, we particularly come from. This is where our philosophy on the use of restrictive techniques comes from. If we have to use it, then it has to be with the right intention. And as I said to you, I'm speaking about the law at this conference on the 4th of November. And one of the things the law is very clear on is about your intention behind what you do. What was your honestly held belief, if you like. And providing your intention was good, and it was honest, and you did it with the best intention, then that's okay. And this is what struck a chord with me when I was reading this passage from the Dalai Lama's book. Because if you take children's legislation, for example, and you can look at the Children Act 1989 or the United Nations Convention of the Child, it talks about one of the primary principles, which is the best interest of the child criteria. Now, if you take the extreme case and say you can never use a restrictive technique or a technique that's going to cause pain with a child, then there could become cases where a child becomes uncontrollable and the staff looking after that child, because of that omission, can't actually control that child, which puts the child and the staff at risk. Now, if the staff fear, for example, that if they use a restrictive technique with that child they're going to get into trouble, then we have a dichotomy already straight away, because they're not acting in the best interest of the child. They'll be acting in their own best interest, which is not to be disciplined or investigated or prosecuted or whatever, and therefore the child is at risk. And also, the other side of this sword, this double-edged sword, is that the staff will be at risk too, because if the children know that they can't be controlled, then the violence and aggression may continue, the challenging behaviour may continue, and then staff are put at risk. And either way, because of this extreme view, the organisation will end up liable for an injury to staff or an injury to the child that could have been prevented, had that omission not been put in place. So I just wanted to share that with you, really. It was just a thought, nothing more. Because when I read that passage this morning, it actually struck a chord. And like I said, we're not extremists. We're not going out there saying, whack wrist locks on people, let's cause pain. But what we're saying is you have to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Now, many years ago, when we first started off in this, we started teaching self-defense. And we started teaching self-defense because that's what we knew, that's what we enjoy, and we still do to a great extent. And one of the things we uncovered as a result of this, and this was in trials with a hospital in West London, was that we actually decreased the amount of depression people were feeling by getting them to do a physical activity. So the self-defense training in itself was not just about teaching people how to protect themselves, it was also by doing something physical, alleviating the deliberating effects of depression and distress on people in their lives. Now, self-defense instruction is a great tool, and many of you out there, many of you as martial artists, as trainers out there teaching self-defense and officer safety training and everything else, apart from teaching the skills you teach, do a great service to society, because you help to alleviate this feeling of learned helplessness in many people. They can see straight away they can achieve. And on the 18th and 19th of November, we're running a self-defense instructors course in Mason and Kent. One of our instructors, Keith Butchart, is going to be taking that course. He's a very, very experienced guy. And if you're interested in coming along, pop along, have a look. We've actually reduced the price. It's £320 plus VAT, which works out £384, which is literally half the price we normally offer this for. And we're doing this because we're able to. Simple as that, really. We've got a very good deal on the venue. Keith's done some extreme work there, so we're therefore able to drop the price. But I want you to understand the philosophy behind what we do, more than what we do technique-wise and in terms of self-defense. Lots of people out there can show you 1,001 ways to hurt someone, and we all know how to do that. I mean, 8.5 pounds of pressure will break any bone in the human body. Less than 4 pounds of pressure will kill someone. A lot of you out there know this stuff. But the reasoning behind it has to be right. The compassion has to be right. The intention has to be right. And part of what you'll see when you train with us, particularly on the self-defense course, is all the underpinning psychology and all the underpinning law and how we make it work, how we produce this holistic aspect towards it. So I just thought I'd share that with you. It all started off by reading a small passage in the book this morning, which struck a chord, hence this blog post. There's a there's a comments box below this blog. If you'd like to leave a comment on this, I'll be really interested in what your viewpoints are. So you can come back to me any time you like. There's also a link below here to the self-defense course that's running on the 18th and 19th of November. So if you're interested in that, click on that link below. And if you are going to the General Service Association conference on the 4th of November, I'll see you there, and I look forward to seeing you. Thanks ever so much for listening.